What happens after the fight? When the adrenaline is gone, the enemy retreats, and the truth finally starts to surface? Because Chapter 8 of Shinobi Undercover doesn't just give us a breather, it quietly detonates one of the biggest revelations in the series so far. Aoi Mukai isn't just a target. She's a survivor. And now the war around her is starting to take shape. Coming off Chapter 7's explosive climax, Yodaka entering that Mushin-like switch state and overwhelming Miyake, we expect escalation through combat. Instead, this chapter does something much more dangerous. It slows down. And in shinobi philosophy, especially in texts like the Shoninki, the moments of stillness after conflict are where truth reveals itself. When the mask slips, when the mission evolves. This is an exposition chapter, but don't mistake that for a break. This is where the board gets bigger. We open in a hospital room. Hibari is recovering. And immediately, the tone shifts. She asks Yodaka to peel an apple. It's such a small human request, but what follows is one of the most revealing character moments in the series. Yodaka doesn't just peel the apple. He executes it with surgical precision. Fast, clean, controlled, cutting the slices into rabbit shapes. This is a direct nod to kamatachi, the traditional art of blade precision, where cutting is not about destruction, but control. In shinobi training, this kind of fine motor mastery is just as important as combat. It's the difference between killing and choosing not to. And Hibari's reaction? She's impressed. Again. But notice what she's impressed by now. It's not just his combat ability, it's his human application of it. This ties directly into the Book of Five Rings, where Miyamoto Musashi emphasizes that true mastery is not just in battle, but in applying skill to every aspect of life. Yodaka is no longer just a weapon. He's becoming adaptable. We cut to the aftermath at the school. The destruction from the fight is explained away as a gas cylinder explosion. This is classic shinobi doctrine. In the Bansen Shukai, there's a recurring principle. Truth is irrelevant. Only perception matters. The public doesn't need reality. They need a story that keeps order intact. And this reinforces one of the core tensions of the series. The world Aoi lives in is built on lies, while she herself represents truth. Back in the hospital, Hibari tries to thank Yodaka, and she can't. She stammers, hesitates, struggles. This is the same girl who can flawlessly perform a social persona in front of an entire school. But when it comes to something real, she freezes. That's the skylark paradox. The bird that sings freely, but only when it's instinctual. Hibari's song has always been artificial. And now she's trying to learn how to make it real. But before she can finish, operator number 9 interrupts. Not out of rudeness, but because he defaults to mission information. This is important. Even after everything, after choosing connection in Chapter 2, after expressing concern in Chapter 7, Yodaka still retreats to what he understands best. Data, structure, mission clarity, and what he reveals next changes everything. Miyake wasn't always a fugitive. He was public safety. Codename, Tsubame, the swallow. This is massive. Because in Japanese symbolism, the swallow represents speed, precision, return. They migrate but always come back. Unlike Yodaka, the solitary nightbird, or Hibari, the social skylark, the swallow is a messenger and traveler between worlds, which fits Miyake perfectly. He's someone who has crossed the boundary between order and chaos, public safety to fugitive, structure to independence. And now his current name, Miyake, meaning multiple houses, takes on even deeper meaning. He doesn't belong anywhere anymore. He's not just rogue, he's unanchored. And then, classic Shinobi Undercover, we get a tonal whiplash moment. Miyake's graduation photo is revealed, and it looks nothing like him. This isn't just comedy, it's thematic reinforcement. Identity in this series is fluid, constructed, disposable. Even faces don't matter. Hibari wanting to spread it everywhere is also telling. She's engaging in something playful, almost normal. Another small step toward humanity. Then the chapter pivots. Hard. Yodaka asks the question we've all been asking. Why is Aoi being targeted? Operator number 9 answers, because the mission has escalated, and what he reveals confirms one of our core theories. Aoi's family was killed by ninja. This is the moment the series reframes itself. Aoi isn't just a random civilian caught in something bigger. She is directly tied to the shinobi world through trauma. And more importantly, the one responsible is still out there. Not only that, Operator number 9 states that this individual outclasses Miyake. Let that sink in. The same Miyake who pushed Hibari to her limit, who forced Yodaka into his switch state, isn't even the top of the food chain. This directly strengthens our theory. Aoi isn't just being targeted for convenience, she's connected to something, or someone, far more dangerous. And Miyake's line from Chapter 7, "Ask Aoi," now hits differently. Does she know? Or is this buried trauma? Or something even deeper? Something inherited? We cut to a playground, and this is where the tone shifts again, into something darker. A new character is introduced, relaxed, casual, talking about luck, pulling on his earlobes like a Buddha for fortune. This is deceptive calm. Then, Miyake arrives, and the dynamic is immediately clear. This man calls him Tsubame, not Miyake, which means he knows his past, and holds authority over it. Then we get the reveal. Fugitive ninja Hachikuma, the crested honey buzzard. Now this is where the bird symbolism becomes critical. The honey buzzard is a predator that specializes in hunting wasps, enduring stings to reach the hive. It doesn't avoid danger. It absorbs it to get what it wants. And that's exactly what we see here. Hachikuma's demeanor flips instantly. From relaxed to dominant, he corners Miyake, and in one of the most visually striking moments in the chapter, the tree above Miyake is sliced into perfect segments. Not chopped, not shattered, sliced, clean, controlled, simultaneous. This is next-level precision, far beyond anything we've seen so far. And then he says it outright, in the fugitive world, it's ninja eat ninja. This is the true hierarchy, not missions, not structure, survival, and dominance. Miyake, who felt like a major threat, is suddenly reframed as an underling. This confirms another major point. Miyake is not acting alone. There is an organization, or at least, a network, and Hachikuma reports to higher-ups, which raises the stakes dramatically. Because now the question isn't just, can Yodaka protect Aoi? It's, can he protect her from an entire ecosystem of predators? We cut back to school life. Yodaka is cleaning a hallway alone. And this is where the series does something brilliant. It juxtaposes world-ending stakes with mundane reality. Operator number 9. Why are you alone? Yodaka. Someone is counting on me. But in reality, he got tricked into doing extra work. This is subtle, but important. Yodaka wants to believe he's helping someone, even when he's being used. Then we get one of the most quietly devastating moments in the chapter. Classmates gossip about Yodaka and Aoi, but they don't assume they're friends. They think he's a servant, a shield, a tool. And that hits directly at the core theme, weapon versus human. Because that's exactly what Yodaka was trained to be. Not a friend, not a person, a function. And then, Aoi appears, crashing into the scene, literally covered in cleaning supplies. Classic Aoi chaos. But what she says next is everything. We're friends. No hesitation, no ambiguity, no performance, just truth. This is why she's the truth anchor of the series. She doesn't interpret relationships, she defines them. Then, sudden danger. A baseball crashes through the window, heading straight for Aoi. And Yodaka reacts instantly. Dustpan, broom, mid-air interception. This is all assault in its purest form. Anything becomes a weapon or a tool. And operator number 9's reaction? Shock. Mid-air? Even he's surprised. Which tells us something critical. Yodaka's reflexes are evolving. But what's even more impressive isn't the catch. It's what comes after. Yodaka spreads the glass around to make it look natural. This is textbook shinobi thinking. Not just reacting to danger, but controlling the narrative after it. Operator number 9 praises him, because this is the balance, action plus concealment. The chapter ends with something deceptively simple, Yodaka walking Aoi home. And here, we get a breakthrough. He tells her, "I'll help you if you're ever in trouble." Aoi. He uses her name, directly, no hesitation, no mission framing. This is huge, because for the first time, Yodaka isn't speaking as a shinobi, he's speaking as a friend. The chapter title, The Two After School, is doing a lot of work here. On the surface, it's just Yodaka and Aoi walking home. But symbolically, it's two identities walking side by side. Yodaka the weapon, Yodaka the human. And for the first time, the human is starting to take the lead. But while Yodaka is learning how to be human, the world around him is becoming more dangerous. Aoi's past is no longer a mystery, it's a target. Miyake is no longer the biggest threat, he's just part of a chain. And now, with Hachikuma introduced, we're seeing the true scale of the conflict. So the real question going forward is this: when the strongest enemies finally move, will Yodaka's humanity make him stronger? Or will it become the one weakness they can exploit? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the channel. Because next chapter, we may not be in recovery mode anymore. We may be stepping into the real war. And trust me, the shadows are only getting deeper.